Well, hello and welcome back to Zeke's Garage. Today we're starting kind of a new project, and that begins with this here truck. This is the 2002 Ford that the wife and I own. This is our trailer puller, our camping machine, our traveling to national parks, whatever. We do it in this truck. But we've been doing it with a little pop-up trailer, a little tent trailer, if you will. And since we got another Jeep, that guy over there, the old Scrambler, and a car trailer, now we're forced with, we can't pull that, and we still need somewhere to stay. So this camper shell needs to go, and we bought us a camper to go in the back of this truck. And I have a lot of learning to do. I've never had one of those things, don't know anything about them. We bought it from the neighbor that's just down the street here, which is convenient. They've been super nice and told me to come and get it whenever it can sit there as long as I need, kind of thing. So been doing the learning and figuring out how I'm going to mount it and whatnot. But first things first, this camper shell's got to go. We've offered it to our kids, Matt and Candace, and we're going to see if it fits on their Dodge. So we're going to unbolt it from the Ford here. It's just clamped on. And we're gonna set it on the old Dodge here and see if it's gonna work. So let's get on with that. Okay, these are the clamps that it's held on with. It's just a 1/2 inch here, I think. So there's just 4 of those on it. They've served well, and they've been on it like this for a long time. So we're gonna get these off and slide this thing off and try it on the Dodge over here. So this is the Dodge. I think it's 2015. But this guy's got a in-bed toolbox on it that we're gonna have to deal with first. So let's get on. All right, so the shell's sitting on it. I'll show you the lines here. It is not a good fit. We're not all the way up yet. This bed is narrower.
Way sticking out.
And yeah, this side is no bueno. So from the Ford to the Dodge, what are you doing, dude? It ain't gonna work. So we need it off this truck. I know, right? This truck hasn't looked like this for a long time. But all right, I guess this is going in the back, and we'll list it. All right, guys, there it is. I was gonna film all that, but didn't, because like I said, this is my first time. I was nervous. I was a bad YouTuber and forgot to film it. But jacks are automatic, so that made it super easy. It's a 03 or 04 Lance. Automatic jacks, has AC, has a generator, has a bathroom and a shower. It's a pretty fancy little machine. So I think we're gonna love this thing. Looks pretty good on the truck too. The stripe on the bottom, the champagne stripe, kind of matches the old champagne stripe in the camper, and then we've got some blues too to match the truck. It looks kind of nice. So anyway, I'll give you a Mallory here, and she'll give you a little tour of the inside, 3-year-old style. So here you go, show them the inside. Take that and show them the inside. Take it. Show them what it looks like. Walk around in there.
Me up. This is the bed, huh? Oh, cool. And then what's this? The sink and the stove and what's this?
The ice.
Fridge. Table.
No lights on. That GoPro does all right. Did you do it?
Yeah.
All right.
What's
Oh,
in here?
show them in there. What's in there, kiddo?
There's the bathroom. Is that cool?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Be
Close
back.
the door.
Close door.
Pull it. Right here.
Close door.
Yep.
Close door.
There it goes.
Okay, cool.
Bye-bye, Potty.
Good morning, people. Welcome back. Today it's camper day. It's the Friday before Father's Day. I'm off work today. Thank you guys, I appreciate it. But I gotta get this camper mounted to this truck, and let me show you what I'm doing here. This camper has frame mounts that go on, and they're supposed to bolt to the frame. The outriggers come out, and then I think they call this a torque lift kit. Instead of tying into your bed caps, it mounts it to the frame, and you're not supposed to get all that body roll associated with campers being tied to your bed. So anyway, I got the rears done the other night. Yes, I'm a bad YouTuber. I didn't film that. Sorry. But I'll film you the fronts because they're going to be a little more involved. So these mounts came with the camper, and they're off a mid-90s Chevy. And I'm making them work on my my 2002 Ford Super Duty here because I'm cheap and I don't want to buy the frame mounts. So it's just going to take a little bit of fabrication. I know a guy. So let's get going on that. Here's what I'm working with for the front mounts. There's the outriggers that slide in and pin, and then these are the pieces here that will actually go on the frame, and they had these things welded to them right there where you can see I took them off. I don't know what those were for on the Chevy. They must have gone up and bolted into the bed or something weird. So I'm working with those. I may have to extend them, but let's get under the truck and see. Okay, so I'm going to assemble this. There's two places that this thing pins. I know I've got to be long because this guy's a little short. So I'm going to assemble this at the hole that makes it the longest it can be. And then we're going to get it under the truck. And what they said was you got to be, my mount's there, you got to be forward of your mount and kind of pull on an angle. Like I have on the rear, it pulls towards the back. This one's got to pull towards the front. So I got to mount this on the frame. I got to mark my bed, I guess, where the mount is on the camper. So I have a reference point for center, and then find a place on the frame that's a little forward of that and go from there. Alright, let me show you what I'm up against here. If I put this thing against the frame, it bottoms on my sheet metal out here off camera. You can't see that. So I'm going to have to mount this guy about right there. So it's going to have to be completely down below the frame. So that means I've got to incorporate some plate here. So let's see what I've got. Alright, so here's what I've come up with. I've put my mount on the camper so I know where my straight edge is, so I can weld this mount on a little bit forward of that. Like I said, the rear ones pull a little back. I'll show you on this other side. See how that one's angled back? They say make these angle back and the front ones angle forward. So here we go. I've got my reference point on there. I found me a piece of plate that's going to work. That'll drop it down below the frame. I'll weld the receiver to the plate and the plate to the truck. So I just need to hold it up there and make sure we're going to hang down far enough. Let's try that. Alright, I'll try to get this on video for ya. Almost need a helper here. Okay, that's gonna go against the frame like that. This is gonna go on this guy about like that. So that's gonna go there, that's gonna go there, and they're just gonna do their thing. So looks like we're gonna be good. I just gotta stick these two together and come back and put it all on the truck. Alright, so this piece of plate had a notch in it where it had been cut before. So I just welded her up. And look at my weld. Critique me. And now I'm going to grind that smooth and we'll weld the bracket on. And just like that, we're all patched up and flat. That's why I prefer metalwork, because if this was a piece of wood, I'd be starting over with a new piece of wood. Alright. I'm not going to bottom this right on the bracket because it needs to hang down further than that. So I'm going to go down, a couple finger widths. But I want to make sure we're square to my bracket, so the old speed square out, make sure we're level here, and that we're kind of just centered. It's not like this is gonna be it's not like this has to be perfect, but I believe in making things look nice. I get that from my dad. Thank you, Dad. So yeah. Let's, I think I'm gonna like that there. So let's get that. This is a bullet hole, by the way. 308. Let's get that welded on. Okay, we're ready to do this. I got my one-armed bandit here, and he's gonna help me hold these in place while I weld them. Okay, so I got the mounts all done on the truck. I didn't film a lot of that because that's kind of boring. You guys have seen me weld before. So now we gotta unload it, get it off the truck, because I have plans for my truck tomorrow hauling tires. These jacks are electric jacks that are controlled by this here guy. Remote that'll either run all of them or them individually, which is super cool. And to engage it, there's a switch just inside the door here. You push this guy, you'll get the red light, and that means your controller's active. So now I can go R is retract, E is extend. Kind of weird, you need to know that on these. So they're retracted, we need to extend them. So I'm going to do all of them at once. Yeah, and I think they're designed that way because they're up higher. The important thing is that they reach the ground all about the same time, or you adjust them properly. So the rears are nearing. This one especially here. Okay, that one's touching, so I'm gonna go rear there. Whoops, extend. Okay, that one's there. Extend this front one. All right, good morning, folks. It's another morning here in Salt Lake City. It's a beautiful morning here. It's got to be in the 60s out here now, and it's end of June. It's like June 20th, 21st, something like that. And we've already seen 100-degree temperatures, and we've got this cold spell coming in, and man, it's awesome out here. So I figured I'd get out here before family obligations this afternoon and do a little bit on this camper install. I've got some wiring here to do on the truck. I've got this Curt wire harness here, 56070. It's supposed to just tee into my factory harness here and then come and plug into a new plug right here that mounts in the bed for the camper. I bought me a camper mat, thick rubber mat that goes in the bed of your truck that keeps the camper from rubbing away on your bed liner and chewing your bed liner off. And that plug needs to be mounted up here on the driver's side somewhere on one of those lower ribs there in the bed. So let's get on that. So it says you're supposed to just be able to unplug your factory trailer hitch harness here and plug this guy right in and just put it right in between it and the harness. And of course I have a hitch and a bumper and all kinds of stuff in the way up in here. Got this tiny little hole to work in and my plugs right here. And of course the clip is up top. So that's gonna make it fun, working by braille. Can't see anything. So let me get back to you after that thing is taken off. Well, okay, I've got that plugged into the back. It worked really well. It plugged right in, but it's too short. So it only comes up to about the front of my wheel well here. It only comes up to about the front there, and I'd really like it to mount in one of these those three bosses or whatever you want to call those there. So I need another extension harness for it that I need to order. So I'm on hold again. So Curt makes a 20-inch extension harness that I'm gonna plug into it and bring it out to here. So I just need to mount my receiver right there, probably in that middle one, so it's visually appealing, and get on with it. But I'll do it on the driver's side here. I'm showing you the passenger side. Anyway, so I'm on hold again, so I'll bring you back in when I have the parts. Okay, so now onto the camper side of things. I'll show you what I'm up to here. This camper is a Lance, and Lance has their own captive connector here instead of a standard 7-way. So I'm gonna bite this thing off and change it to a standard 7-way so I can wire my truck normal for a regular gooseneck or whatever. If I want to do something later on that thing, I don't want to put some crazy proprietary connector on it. So I'm gonna change this to standard. So let's get going on that. Well, alright guys, I'm getting back to this camper. I got my extension from Amazon and I'm here wiring it. I'll show you what I'm up to. Okay, this is the one out of the camper. You notice how I've kind of staggered all those connectors so I won't have one big lump of connectors when I reseal this thing with the cover. And here's my extension here. So I'm going to cut those accordingly, lengthwise, put them back in these guys, do up the heat shrink, and then cover it back over with that, tape it up. You should be good. So, okay, I've got them all connected except for my blue wire, which is my electric trailer brake, and it's a camper. Doesn't have any brakes on it. So, just going to terminate that, wrap this all up, and we'll be golden. Alright, there we go, finished product. 8-foot long extension cord so it can go to the back of my truck bed and get hooked in. That shrunk my shrink fittings. This is a kit that's available on Amazon. They're heat shrink. You just crimp them on and heat shrink them. Really nice. My Milwaukee knife, Craftsman. If you don't have one of these, this was just a cheap Amazon find. Wirefly. That thing is awesome. You can lock it halfway into place. Look at that, I'm letting go. Hold the wire into place while you work the other side, jam it in the connector, and then finish it off and it lets go. Love that tool, and it was like 25 bucks on Amazon. And then everybody's got to have one of these, right? So there you go.